What's going on, guys? My name is Omega and welcome back to another Apex Legends video. So in today's video I want to talk to you guys about the origin story of Respawn Entertainment. Respawn actually has a very interesting story about how their company was first started. It goes all the way back about 9 or 10 years ago, involves a ton of different drama, there are lawsuits involved, so I thought this would be a pretty interesting story to talk about just in case you guys have never heard it. So we're going to start this story in the year 2002. This was right after a company called 2015 Incorporated had produced the game Medal of Honor Allied Support, which was published by EA at the time. After the very successful launch of this game, 3 developers decided to leave 2015 Incorporated to start their own game studio called Infinity Ward. The 3 original founders of Infinity Ward were Vince Zampella, Jason West, as well as Grant Collier. The rest of the Infinity Ward team also consisted of various employees who originally worked at 2015 Incorporated. Now, the first project that Infinity Ward was tasked with was creating the original Call of Duty game that was released on the PC in 2003. The team at the time had funding from Activision, who originally purchased 30% of Infinity Ward to make the first Call of Duty game. On October 29, 2003, that game was released to the public and, as you guys know, was a massive success. One of the big reasons why this Call of Duty game was so popular was the emphasis of AI-controlled allies or computer players that would help assist you when completing campaign missions. And while this may not seem that impressive nowadays, looking back, it was a big step for first-person shooter games at the time. Now, the day after the game was released, Activision decided to purchase the last 70% of Infinity Ward, which started a huge streak of successful Call of Duty games. Infinity Ward went on to create Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4, as well as Modern Warfare 2, which just revolutionized the first-person shooter genre. Now, after the successful launch of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Vince and Jason had come to an agreement with Activision. Activision wanted the team to create another Modern Warfare title, but Infinity Ward stated that they want to have more creative control in the future over the games they made. The agreement was that Activision would give the Infinity Ward team a bigger bonus as well as complete control over the games they made after they created and launched Modern Warfare 2. Activision also added kind of like a loophole to this agreement, saying if Vince and Jason were ever fired from Infinity Ward, the creative control would go back to Activision, and then Vince and Jason did both agree to this deal. Now, this is where things get interesting, because in 2010, only a couple months after Modern Warfare 2 launched and had already made over $1 billion in gross sales, Vince Zampella and Jason West claimed that they were fired by Activision and told that they could not return to their offices, communicate with any of their colleagues, and that they would not receive the $36 million in bonuses and royalties that Activision had promised them before. A couple days after, West and Zampella sued Activision for wrongful termination as they were trying to recover the bonuses never paid to them, as well as control over the studio they originally started. About 30 or so employees from Infinity Ward also joined in on this lawsuit, as they were also promised bonuses and royalties that they had never received. About a month later is when the 2 developers actually founded Respawn Entertainment, which started as a small team of some former developers who had worked at Infinity Ward. They were able to finance this company with a large advance from Activision's biggest competitor, Electronic Arts. Now, in April of 2010, Activision filed a countersuit claiming that West and Zampella had colluded with EA to purposely get themselves fired so that they could set up their own studio using EA's money, which then obviously brought EA into this massive lawsuit. Now, in 2012, a couple months before the case was actually supposed to be tried in court, West and Zampella increased their demands from only $36 million to more than $1 billion to account for possible future earnings they missed on due to being fired from Infinity Ward by Activision. Interestingly enough, this is when Activision appears to start to give in to the case. In May of 2012, Activision finally agreed to first pay out a total of $42 million to the 30 or so Infinity Ward developers who joined the suit quickly after West and Zampella filed theirs. They also announced that they had settled on an agreement with EA outside of court and that EA was no longer involved in the case. Finally, they had also come to a settlement agreement with Zampella and West, which led the entire case to be dismissed by a judge. To this day, it's still unknown how much the 2 developers actually received from Activision, but many people believe it was in the tens of millions of dollars. EA had also made a statement after the case was dismissed, saying the settlement was a vindication of Vince and Jason and the right of creative artists to collect the rewards due for their hard work. After the lawsuits were dropped, many other Infinity Ward employees left to join Vince and Jason at Respawn. Some of these notable developers include Todd Alderman, Jason McCord, Drew McCoy, and many others who are still working for Respawn today. As you guys know, on March 11, 2014, Respawn's first game was released, that being Titanfall 1. A year later, Respawn announced they were working on a sequel for Titanfall, which ended up being called Titanfall 2 and was released another year later in October of 2016. Now in 2017, EA ended up acquiring Respawn for around $151 million. And then, as we all know, on February 4th, 2019, Respawn debuted a trailer for Apex Legends on YouTube and then released the game on the same day, with zero marketing done beforehand. Besides a handful of creators uploading videos of the game on the day of release, Apex Legends had a wildly successful launch with over 50 million players logging on only a month after its release. So I actually find this story pretty inspiring because all that Vince and Jason wanted in the beginning for Infinity Ward was just to have creative control over the games they made. I know this is a big problem in the gaming industry when small game studios have to rely on money from their parent companies, and the fact that they're getting this money means that they need to go in more of a direction that the parent company wants rather than what the game studio actually wants to make. And the fact that they had come to this deal with Activision and that deal was not honored is really an unfortunate thing. But when you think about it, like in terms of the present, if this incident never happened, like if they didn't get fired from Infinity Ward, there's a very good chance that Respawn, Titanfall, and Apex Legends would have never existed. And while I understand it was probably a really emotional event to have to go through something like that, like starting your own game studio, making all of these amazing games, and then basically being screwed over by the company that helped you get started in the first place, I'm sure is a lot to deal with. But I'm hoping that now that they're looking back at the present, I'm hoping they saw some good from the situation. The fact that Apex Legends is now one of the biggest battle royale games out there, this never would have happened if those series of events didn't unfold. And again, this video is purely just for informational sake. Like, I'm really not trying to get anyone to like take sides or like bring back past drama. You know, all of this has been resolved. There's not been any drama between Respawn or Activision in the past that I know of. And I also want to add that I have the utmost respect for the developers that actually went through this situation. Many of them are still working at Respawn today, and if it wasn't for what happened, you know, we might not have Apex Legends. So let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought of today's video. If you have any more comments or feedback to add, feel free to do so. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will see you on the next one. Have a great day. Peace out.